I became involved because I really got, kind of motivated by the message that was being portrayed by the Occupy Wall Street protesters. I've always been, sympathetic to the ideas of reducing inequalities, whether it be by race, gender. I think Occupy Wall Street is kind of embodying that. These are the kind of issues being raised are the ones that, in this society, you're not supposed to talk about. In America, we're just supposed to accept that, the static state of our democracy is the best that we can achieve. Yet, the fact that we do have these inequalities means that there is plenty of room for improvement, and not being able to talk about these issues is only stifling us as a people, as a country, as in a global society. What we see in the United States is just a microcosm of what's happening on a global scale, and it's even worse on a global scale. So just breaking that that glass ceiling of not being able to talk about inequality is, I think, very important, and this is that opening to do so in a way that is trying to be inclusive, and in a way that recognizes the role of direct democracy, and recognizes that the way the power structures are designed to keep us divided, keep us to not talk about these issues. And so I think this movement was really taking that head on. There's a lot holding people back, and I think that's the big question. I think at this point in the movement, what is holding people back exactly? Is it economic, social, cultural factors? And so being able to figure that out, I think, would give the movement more ability to be successful. The social barriers, I think, include the divisions we have in America based on race. These divisions that we have are really hindering any further movement for Occupy. The major issue is Occupy is predominantly white. While white people are fine and good, that's it's all good. The fact that there is a lack of diversity, I think, is not giving us enough ability to connect with enough people. The divisions of race are still very strong in the United States, and if white people and black people and Latinos and Asian people do not start talking with each other and being involved in the movement together, that's probably the biggest factor holding us back. Culturally, we very much have a neoliberal culture that emphasizes, privatization, emphasizes an ownership society, and that while ownership is fine and it's a right that should be protected, it is only one aspect of society. Yet our culture constantly is telling us, and we constantly see it, that it's acceptable. It is actually good that we have income inequality, is essentially what our culture tells us. And so this movement is kind of a counterculture to that, saying, saying no, that's not acceptable. So, but the point I'm trying to make is, it is really ingrained in people's minds, and it's on a subconscious level and a conscious level, both levels. People believe that we should have an ownership society, and every person for themselves, and the ideals of collectivism should be called communist. They should be called anti-American. This is the culture we live in, and I think that is a major barrier. The fact that people are not allowed to talk about this, and it's considered against our culture to even bring this into the political realm, into the mainstream media. I think that's what I would say a big cultural barrier.